Today's lesson is called Dramatic Rescue for 13 Trapped in Flooded Thai Cave Complex. Hi everyone, my name is Jeff.
I'm Roger, and we're talking about something that happened in the news last summer. I'm sure you heard about it. There were these Thai boys, these boys from Thailand, who got stuck in a cave in northern Thailand, and they were all rescued. All 12 boys and their coach were rescued by some really brave scuba divers in that cave, and they are alive today to talk about their ordeal.
And boy, was it ever dramatic, this rescue. Now, we'll talk about that vocabulary word soon, but for now, let's talk about what it means for something to be dramatic. Okay, if something is dramatic, there's a whole lot of drama or suspense. For a long time, we had no idea if these boys were going to make it out of this cave complex alive. We were all very worried. It would have been quite the tragedy if these young men perished in this cave complex. Luckily, though, everybody survived as far as the soccer players are concerned. A few people did die, but these boys got out of there with their lives. They were spared. Yay! All right, folks, with that, let's go ahead and get started with today's lesson. We'll be talking about the flooded Thai cave complex rescue. We'll start reading about this right after a break.
Dramatic rescue for 13 trapped in flooded Thai cave complex. After 18 days trapped underground in a flooded cave complex in northern Thailand, 12 boys on a soccer team and their coach were rescued in a dramatic 3-day international rescue operation led by the Thai Navy SEALs.
Okay, everybody, it's time to discuss our lesson for today. The first part here, we're talking about this dramatic rescue for 12 kids and their coach trapped in flooded Thai cave complex. So they were trapped in this cave in Thailand, and it's not just a cave, but it's a cave complex, which means it's a big cave and it goes off in all sorts of different directions. It could be several kilometers long, and maybe it hasn't been totally explored yet, so we're calling it a cave complex and not just your everyday run-of-the-mill cave.
Yes, this was a cave complex. That's why this was such a difficult rescue to pull off. This wasn't a simple cave. Okay, here's the entrance. Go in, come back out. Yay, you're okay? No, this was a tough thing to navigate, this cave complex. Yes, here we're talking about a system of interconnected caves. No one knows how to get out once you're in. It's like a maze of caves underground there. And yes, there was also flooding, which totally complicated matters as well. Now, otherwise, if we're not talking about caves, usually when we're talking about complexes, we're talking about a group of buildings, kind of like facilities that are located in and about the same area or in the same place. Like a shopping complex could be a really big mall with all sorts of different stores in it. It would be bigger than your typical mall. Then we also have the word rescue. Here it's being used as a noun. Okay, a rescue is the act of rescuing someone. So notice the noun rescue comes from the verb rescue. If you rescue someone, by the way, you take that person out of danger, out of harm's way. So here we're talking about this dramatic rescue, a situation in which these kids were rescued or they were saved by other people. Anyways, let's start reading from our article now. After 18 days trapped underground in a flooded cave complex in northern Thailand, 12 boys on a soccer team and their coach were rescued in a dramatic 3-day international rescue operation led by the Thai Navy SEALs. So I said we're going to start reading from the first paragraph, and how about that? The first paragraph is just a single sentence. How interesting. But there is one thing we do have to talk about in this particular sentence. It's the noun operation. Here, an operation is like a mission. It's a set of coordinated actions or acts undertaken by a person or maybe a group of people that is meant to bring about some end. You're trying to do something, so you put an operation in place to do that thing. And apparently, this operation was led by the best of the best there in Thailand. It was led by the Thai Navy SEALs.
Right, and that was originally the name for a special forces unit of the United States Navy. I think SEAL there stands for what? Sea, air, and land. These men can work in all these different conditions. So, of course, other countries have such military groups as well. So this one is in the Thai Navy. The Thai Navy SEALs, again, they operate in the sea, in the air, and on land. And so they conducted this operation, and they were successful in rescuing these 12 boys and their coach. Now let's move on now to the next part of our lesson. We'll listen to it first.
We are not sure if this is a miracle, science, or what, the Navy SEALs announced on their Facebook page. All the 13 wild boars are now out of the cave. The boys, who are aged 11 to 17, recovered in the hospital after their ordeal. During the rescue operation, each of them was attached by a rope to 2 divers and wore scuba diving gear. Some of the boys couldn't swim. None of them had used scuba gear before.
大家好，第二部分我们看到的单字是 ordeal， 这个字是名词，表示磨难、煎熬、严峻考验。举例来说， Thanks to the impressive work of the Navy SEALs, the ordeal of this valuable asset in captivity has come to an end. 多亏了海豹突击队漂亮的行动，这位被俘虏的重要人物的磨难已经结束。又或者说 Studying math was an ordeal for Nigel, so he turned to the counselors for help. 数学对 Nigel 来说是种煎熬，所以他向学校的辅导老师寻求协助。再来看到的单字是名词 scuba diving， 意指水肺潜水。例如 The day when I went scuba diving at the Orchid Island was the best day of my life. 在蓝屿潜水那天是我人生中最美好的一天。又或者说，除了在海滩上享受阳光之外， Andrea 说她对于隔天的潜水活动感到十分兴奋。英文就是 Aside from enjoying the sunlight at the beach, Andrea said she was so excited about the scuba diving activities the next day.
Okay, before the break, we learned that this dramatic operation to rescue these young men from this flooded cave complex was led by the Thai Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs there in Thailand. Now, let's hear about the Navy SEALs that we're talking about here. It says, we are not sure if this is a miracle, science, or what, the Navy SEALs announced on their Facebook page. So this is what they said. We're not sure if this is a miracle, science, or what, but we were successful. All the 13 wild boars are now out of the cave.
I should mention that science usually is not countable. You wouldn't say science in normal speech, but we understand what they mean here. They're not sure if it was a miracle or if it was just science that accounted for their rescue, but still they're very happy that all these people were rescued. All the 13 wild boars, the 12 players and their coach, are now out of that cave. Again, this is the name of their team, the Wild Boars. A boar, B-O-A-R, is a kind of pig, and that's what they said on their Facebook page. Now, the boys, who are aged 11 to 17, recovered in the hospital after their ordeal. An ordeal, of course, is a difficult situation. I could say that it was quite an ordeal for me to live in Alaska during the winter. It was quite cold and I suffered a lot, so it was quite an ordeal. And I should also mention here that in America, we will say the hospital. He is in the hospital. Whereas in England, they drop the. He is in hospital.
Now, more on this rescue operation, which was amazingly complex. During the rescue operation, each of these boys, each of them was attached by rope to 2 divers and wore scuba diving gear. They wore this gear, this scuba diving gear, so that they could breathe underwater. Remember, they were trapped, okay? These caves had flooded. There was water everywhere. You couldn't breathe without this scuba gear. Now, more on the word gear. Here, we're not talking about a wheel with like teeth on it that you might find in a car engine or inside a Swiss watch. No. Here, gear is equipment. It's stuff that you need to do some activity. You can't go scuba diving without your scuba gear. Now, I also heard that, these boys, they couldn't swim, they couldn't breathe underwater using scuba gear because they hadn't used that stuff before. And we'll talk about that next. But I also heard that because these kids were so fragile after being trapped for so long, they also had to give them special drugs so that when they were being carried through the cave and being rescued, that they didn't panic or lose control. They had doctors there and Navy SEALs, and they all worked together to save each and every one of these boys' lives.
It was a great rescue effort, of course, but I wonder if after the boys got home, if they were scolded by their parents. What business do you have going into that cave during the rainy season? You should have known better. Indeed, I think they probably should have known better, but still, sometimes these things happen. When you're young, you make mistakes, and we're all happy that they came out of this ordeal alive. Okay, so again, they were all rescued, but it was quite difficult. As we said, they had to be attached by a rope to 2 divers. They wore scuba diving gear, and some of them couldn't swim. None of them had used scuba gear before. So here we've got the word gear, which is similar to the word equipment. And you're not going to add an S to the end of this, even though they are individual items, but we consider it a non-count noun. Scuba diving gear, that would be what? A mask and flippers and a wetsuit and stuff like that. Maybe special gloves or whatever.
And don't forget the tank of compressed air.
Exactly. So those are all items in scuba diving equipment, so they had to be trained in how to use this stuff, and they couldn't swim, and as Jeff said, they were given some kind of drugs so that they wouldn't panic during the rescue operation. It looked like it was successful. They couldn't swim, they hadn't used scuba gear before, but they came out of it alive.
All right, folks, with that, it is time for us to take a break, but don't go away. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up our news report article.
The boys and their coach were exploring the mountain cave in Chiang Rai province after soccer practice on June 23rd when they became trapped as heavy rains flooded the cave. It wasn't until 9 days later that a search team found them. They had survived by drinking water dripping from the rocks and stayed calm in the darkness by meditating. On a sad note to an otherwise happy ending, one of the rescue divers, Salman Gunnan, perished when his air supply ran out as he was preparing the route for the rescue mission.
第3部分我们看到的单字是 meditate， 这个字是动词，表示冥想、沉思。例如 Abigail meditates every day for 30 minutes because she thinks it will bring her peace. Abigail 每天都会冥想30分钟，因为她说这样会带来平静。接下来我们看到的单字是 note， 这个名词表示气氛、语调、口吻。举例来说 Nancy was worried because she sensed a note of threat in her ex-boyfriend's Facebook post. Nancy 很担心，因为她从她前男友的脸书贴文中嗅到了一丝威胁的语气。又或者说 The new teacher brought a joyous note to the classroom and every student liked him. 那位新老师为教室带来欢乐的气氛，所有学生都喜欢他。今天的最后一个单字是动词 perish， 意指死亡、毁灭。例如It was such a tragedy that nearly 290,000 people perished in the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami. 在2004年造成近29万人死亡的印度洋强震及海啸，真是一件悲剧。又或者说 The man was about to perish in the cold water when he was saved by rescuers. 当救难人员将那男子救出时，他在冰水中已经濒临死亡边缘。
All right, now we've talked about the rescue operation so far, but we haven't really mentioned how they got in that cave in the first place. Well, the boys and their coach were exploring the mountain cave in Chiang Rai province after soccer practice on June 23rd, when they became trapped as heavy rains flooded the cave. So I'm assuming these boys were from a local soccer club, and they had been practicing, maybe doing their drills or whatever on the soccer pitch. And that happened on June 23rd, and then soccer practice was over, and one of the boys maybe said, Hey, let's go explore that cave right now. That sounds like something fun to do. We've been playing soccer all day. We're tired. We need to do something different. So they went into that cave, but then it started raining really hard, and they became trapped because of those heavy rains, and those rains flooded the cave. Rains here is being used as a countable noun. I suppose we're talking about different periods of rain falling at different times, but the rain did keep falling, and the cave became flooded or full of water.
And yes, this mountain cave, or cave complex, I should say, is located in the Chiang Rai province there in Thailand. But what is a province? Here, a province is similar to a region. Otherwise, provinces are kind of like states. In Canada, you have provinces. In America, in the United States, I should say, you have states. But here a province, it's an area. It's usually smaller than a country, or it's within a country, and it's kind of like a region with some borders to it or some characteristics that make that place that place.
Right on. Of course, as you know, China has provinces as well. Shandong, Guangdong, Yunnan, those are all Chinese provinces. So in Thailand, they've got provinces as well. This one is called Chiang Rai, which of course is in northern Thailand. And that's what happened. They went into the cave. It started raining, and they got stuck inside that cave. And it wasn't until 9 days later that a search team found them. So, of course, the initial news, the news at the beginning was that they were missing. They didn't know if the boys were alive or dead. But a search team managed to find them. They had survived by drinking water dripping from the rocks and stayed calm in the darkness by meditating. So they found some place in the cave that wasn't flooded, but they were still trapped inside, and they were there a long time. So they drank water that was dripping from the rocks. I guess the water was okay to drink, and they stayed calm. They did not panic. They did not get excited because they were meditating. Of course, as you know, Thailand is a Buddhist country, and Buddhism often involves meditating, sitting still and maybe not thinking about anything or thinking about just one word or one thing. That is meditating.
There you go. No one lost their composure. No one panicked. They meditated, okay, which is important. When you're faced with an emergency situation, keep a level head. Don't panic. Now, on a sad note, to an otherwise happy ending, one of the rescue divers, Saman Ganan, perished when his air supply ran out as he was preparing the route for the rescue mission. So there you go. Someone gave their life so that these boys might be rescued. What a fellow. Now, here, before we take a break, let's talk about the word route or route here. Here, a route or a route is a way or a path that leads to somewhere or some place. So they were trying to find a way to these boys. They were trying to find a way through these caves to locate these boys and then to bring them to safety.
Sometimes we drive to Sinju by the sea route and not the mountain route. It's more scenic that way sometimes to drive to Sinju along the ocean. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's listen now to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。首先看到课文标题里面有一个单字 complex， 那这边我帮同学们补充它的字首字根。好， complex 其中这个 P-L-E-X plex 这部分呢，它有折叠啊、重叠、交错的意思。那像在 complex 这个单字里面 plex 就表示交错，那么前面的 C-O-M 表示一起。同学们就可以试着联想啊，把很多不同的事物交错在一起，那就会显得很复杂。所以 complex 可以用来表达错综复杂的组合或者是复合体。好，另外一个动词是 perplex。perplex 其中这个 plex 它表示交叠，那么字首 P-E-R 它有完全的意思。那我们就可以试着联想啊，当你所有的思绪完全交叠在一起，完全缠绕在一起的时候，就会感到很困惑。那么 perplex 它就可以用来表达使什么困惑，令人费解。那在 perplex 后面加上名词字尾 ity， 它就会变成名词 perplexity， 那就表示困惑、迷惘。好，接着读到课文第3部分，有一个句子是 It wasn't until 9 days later that the search team found them. 直到9天后，搜救队才找到他们。那这边用到的句型是 It is not until 什么什么加上 that 加主词加动词，这表示说直到什么什么才怎么样。那在学习这个句型之前，要先帮同学们补充2个重点。首先 it is 什么什么 that 什么什么，这是个分列句的句型，可以用来强调句中的某个部分。那用法就是把要强调的部分摆在 it is 跟 that 之间，然后把剩下的字词摆到 that 后面。好，那么第2个重点是 not until， 它表示直到什么才怎么样。not until 的后面可以接名词或是子句。好，那我们回头来看 It is not until 什么什么 that 主词加动词这个句型呢，它其实就是用分列句 It is 哒哒哒 that 哒哒哒来强调 not until 搭配名词或子句的用法。我们用例句来说明会更清楚。例如 He didn't go to bed until 3 a.m. 直到凌晨3点钟他才去睡觉。那这个例句的时态是过去式，如果我们要改成分列句的话，那个分列句的 be 动词要用 was， 所以你的句型会是 It was 哒哒哒 that 哒哒哒。好，那么接着呢，我们把要强调的部分 Not until 3 a.m. 把它摆在 it was 跟 that 之间，然后把原本句子里面剩下的字词就摆到 that 后面。那这时候要记得哦，我们原本的句型里面是有助动词 did， 我们就把它拿掉，再把它后方的动词 go 改回过去式 went， 所以句子就变成It was not until 3 a.m. that he went to bed. 好，那像课文句子呢，它原本是 A search team didn't find them until 9 days later. 它为了要强调 not until 9 days later 直到9天后这部分呢，它就把 not until 9 days later 摆到分列句的句型 it was 和 that 之间，然后把剩下的字词移到 that 后方。它同样有把助动词 did 拿掉，然后把后方的动词 find 改成过去式 found， 就会变成 it wasn't until 9 days later that a search team found them。 好，那么以上是今天的重点整理，接着我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Rescue. The Coast Guard's rescue of the passengers on the sinking ship was a success. Complex. Lydia lives in the apartment complex behind the hospital. Operation. Thanks to the spy operation, important information was discovered. Gear. Martin and Aaron plan to purchase the gear they need for their camping trip. Province. Vancouver is located in the Canadian province of British Columbia. Parish. All passengers perished when the plane crashed into the Indian Ocean. Route. The sign says the road is closed and we need to take a different route.
Discussion starter starts now.
Here comes our discussion starter. The question is, if you were trapped in a cave, what would you do to survive?
Well, first, I would act like these boys in the cave acted. I would not lose my cool. I would make sure that no matter what, I would not panic. Then I would make sure that we've got enough air to breathe, and then on top of that, I would try to locate a source of water.
Yeah, I would make sure, or I would also make sure to not use too much energy because you never know how much air there is in the cave and you're not eating any food, so I would sit as still as possible and wait to be rescued.
Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.